Welcome back to Game Points. I'm your host, Matthew Ross. We're monitoring Kings San Jose. Still 1-0 for the Kings there. Early stages of the second period. Late stages of the third quarter, 74-65 in favor of San Antonio. They're trying to take a one-game lead in their series. We're going to talk some NFL here right now. We'll welcome in from sportsnetwork.com. He's the NFL editor over there. You can follow him on twitter.com/JFMcMullen. It is John McMullen. Hey, John, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me, Matt.
Thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. Let's start with a story we were just chatting about here in studio prior to you coming on, John, and get your take on this. So I was kind of joking because I'm a Bronco fan here. I said, well, the Broncos could be set in that secondary if they can turn the clock back to 2002, as Charles Woodson being courted by Denver, maybe to go along with the aging Champ Bailey. And then my co-host here, Mo Khan, who's a big Raiders fan, said, not so fast. Raiders possibly courting him as well, to which our intern Stefano Michello started to laugh. So where do you weigh in on where Charles Woodson could end up, and what do you think he's got left, and what he could offer a team?
Yeah, I think it is interesting because obviously Woodson is, he's been on the market for a while. He's obviously a big name, but he's 36 years old. And as soon as you hear the Broncos are interested, then the Raiders jump in, and all of a sudden they're back into it. So it's kind of that bidding war that you often see with division rivals. And, it's more of, I shouldn't say more of, but it's, part that you want to keep them away from your rival. And you also want them, too, because these are a couple of teams that do need help in the secondary. I know you as a Broncos fan, I'd probably have nightmares about watching Raheem Moore.
Why did you do that, John? All he had to do was just take a couple steps back, John. Why?
That's amazing. In that situation, you never let the player get on top of you, and that's exactly what he did. And that's what Charles Woodson will bring to a team. He's a veteran guy. He knows he's going to play safety now. He's going to be more of a safety on base downs and be that kind of slot player off the edge and nickel. And he's very smart. He's very heady. He's never going to make a mistake like that. And from day one, I was thinking that a player like Woodson would go to a contender. So to me, the Broncos make more sense because they're closer to getting over the top, so to speak. And the 49ers had some interest earlier in the process. They were another team that made a lot of sense to me, but they've since gone in a different direction. So, but if you're Woodson, you're thinking maybe it's come back full circle. Obviously, that's where he started his NFL career, and maybe going home to the Bay Area and going full circle like that and ending his Hall of Fame career. Maybe that has some impact on him personally. But I sit and look at that Denver situation, obviously with Peyton Manning his age, and he's getting up there. They're trying to make another run and trying to get that Super Bowl ring, and that's the kind of talent you want to bring in that situation.
John, looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, the team that you know very well, and of course this week the big guns showed up for the OTAs with quite the array of music here. How do you think this team has adapted so far to Chip Kelly's ways with his unorthodox off-season training methods, the protein shakes, the music being played, being blared out during the practices? Has this team been open-minded to this whole new Chip Kelly regime?
Well, I think it's a little too early to tell right now. I don't think, asking players to eat healthy and giving them smoothies, I don't think anyone's going to look at them and decry them for anything like that. But, I was at the OTAs yesterday. It was the first practice for the Eagles open to the media, and I'll tell you, it wasn't like a normal NFL practice. The music was blaring, and I wrote it was like an AFL game, and with that constant noise and always keeping your attention. It's just this frenetic pace that you don't see in NFL practices that often. Now, that's easy to do at this time of year when you have a 90-man roster. And even Chip Kelly acknowledged that after practice. He's not going to be able to practice like this when he's down to 53 men. So it's going to be interesting to see how he moves along. And there's eyes on him. And I said yesterday, this guy's either going to be 3 years from now we're going to be talking about him like he's a genius, or people are going to be looking at him like a flash in the pan, because he's doing a lot of things that are outside of the box in the NFL, and they're just not used to it. So I think he can go in two different directions, and they're going to be polar opposites, and it's just too early to tell right now.
John McMullen of SportsNetwork.com joining us here, talking a little NFL. John, we didn't really talk a lot about the draft with you after it happened. From what you've seen thus far and your thoughts maybe even going into the draft, who's right now in the best position maybe as a rookie to succeed this season? Doesn't matter the position. Who do you think's looking pretty good, do you think, for a nice year in year one?
Well, that's always tough. You know, you tend to look at a position where a guy's going to get a chance to play. And I know right off the bat, I think, even though I think it was a reach, and I think a lot of people agree with me, the Bills going after E.J. Manuel at 16th overall, I believe, you know, he's going to get, this is a new era in the NFL. This is not where you can sit back and groom a quarterback for 2 or 3 years, especially in a situation like Buffalo, which is, you know, seemingly rebuilding for a decade. This is a guy who's going to be thrown into the deep end of the pool. And, you know, if you think about the rookie quarterbacks last year and what Andrew Luck did, what Robert Griffin III did before he got injured, even what Russell Wilson did, you look at these quarterbacks and they expect him to hit the ground running, and he's going to get every opportunity to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So that alone, he's going to get a lot of opportunities that other rookies don't get. You know, and we just talked about the Eagles. I keep an eye on Matt Barkley. It's almost absurd to see a fourth-round pick and say he might be the starting quarterback. But I just don't think Michael Vick is a fit for Chip Kelly's offense. I don't think Nick Foles is a fit for Chip Kelly's offense. And people talk about the read option with Chip Kelly, but to me it's more about an up-pace, an up-tempo pace. And he wants a quarterback to make quick decisions. He wants him to hit that back foot and have that ball out of there. And Barkley's that kind of guy. Started 4 years in high school, 4 years in college. He's NFL ready, and I think, believe it or not, he's going to get every opportunity to compete for that starting job.
JF McMullen on Twitter.com if you want to follow him there. John's syndicated throughout various outlets in North America, but also check out SportsNetwork.com, the NFL coverage there as well. John, thank you as always. Really appreciate your time.
Hey, it's always fun, guys. Thanks for having me.